Welcome to the channel, Reverend Dr. Jason W. Morrison, theologist. I don't practice as a preacher anymore. The call went off my life years ago and I recognized it and I got out. I didn't have the tolerance for people anymore at that point. I want to speak today about covert emotional incest, something that I've come across in its viciousness and depravity and lust several times now, to my detriment and to the detriment of the people practicing it. It's real, it happens, and it's happening as we speak. The people that participate in it, the adult children and the parents, know something isn't quite right between them, but it comes with an emotional allurement. It becomes an addictive part of their emotional feed, supply. We become addicted to certain feelings and certain ways in which we get stroked emotionally by the relationships that we have. Covert emotional incest has probably one of the strongest emotional satiations attached to it. It's a bond that once it's conceived is impenetrable, cannot be cut, cannot be broken, unless some kind of severe crisis or accident happens to one or the other persons and they come to an extraordinary place of revelation in realizing that they're in a relationship that's completely and utterly not parent-child, but where the parent has surrogated the child as a partner and the child's taken on that role as the partner of the parent. There's all different combinations: adult daughter, adult daughters, it can be plural, mother, son, mother, sons, plural, sons to mother. But my instances have been mother to sons, sons to mother. Now, I've tried to work with this as an outsider coming into a single mother environment. Tried to play a part that was healthy or potentially to be healthy and to the advantage of the woman and the children. But I found that the older these children were, the more complicated it was, the more difficult it was. The longer the woman had been in a single dimension, she may have been having sex randomly with men here and there, and you'll often find that these children will be aware of this. They'll know the mother's sexual activities and they share these things amongst each other. This is all part of the nature of covert emotional incest and how it works. The mother will share intimate details with these adult sons. This is also stroking their emotional lust, sort of, as it were. There's the emotional lust and depravity that goes on is, if you had seen it, if you could see it, you'd understand how out of order it is, how out of shape it is, how disgusting it is. But it's a very powerful bond. It's a very powerful co-union. So powerful, in fact, that it doesn't matter if you're the partner of the adult child, or the parent. Doesn't matter how much sex you're having with them or how much input you're putting into the relationship. You are not going to penetrate that bond. And it's not something that you're trying to do. I mean, in all honesty, if these people want to have emotional sex with each other, that's up to them. It's going on all over the place. People don't want to admit it. They don't want to talk about it. And they'll actually, they'll become vehement. They'll dispel you. They'll want you out of the picture if they get any sense that you've unveiled the relationship going on between them. They do not want to be exposed as being closer than they should be. They call each other, the mother will often call the son babe, gorgeous, darling, intimate names with intimate connotations to keep that bond alive. The son will emotionally groom the mother, all but having sex. You'll find incredible, extraordinary levels of sarcasm going on between the two, the belittling of the opposite sexes. You'll find the sons involved right up to their neck in the mother's intimate private business. And this is all covert. Nobody else is aware of this, but I've seen it. I've seen it with my own two eyes. I know how all this evil works. They'll lay in bed with their mother. The mother will cuddle the son, older sons. She'll serve them like she's married to them, like she's a wife to these lazy ass grubs. In the meantime, the sons are usually manipulators and controllers, struggling with their own relationships without any boundaries. There's no boundaries between these people. Everybody seems to know everybody else's business on an intimate level. It's unparalleled, no boundaries. It's no boundaries deluxe. There are no boundaries between these parents and their children, and it's off. It's really off. I've seen these adult sons get into bed while I've been in bed with their mother on 2 occasions. And the poor old mother, I mean, what can she do? She's made this behaviour standard. She's made it a standard for these people. And I'll be honest with you, I do think in some cases there is physical touch that crosses the boundary into incest. It may not be sexual. The emotional level of it's without restraint. You can sense the lust being exchanged emotionally between these people. You can sense it while you're in their presence. You see, they're totally ignorant. They don't realize that you can see this, you can sense it. And what you'll find if you get involved with a son or a mother, or you might, looking at it from the other scale, a daughter or a father, these people will put each other first. You could be on a date with the mother, on a date, and the son will come home with a headache, or something's happened at work, he's stubbed his toe at work, or somebody's challenged him at work. Meanwhile, you've been building high-rise fucking buildings and goodness knows what, and dealing with dozens and dozens of dysfunctional men and stuff, just coming home to have a peaceful night. But no, the adult son's, he needs to speak to his mother because something's happened at work. He knows she's on a date. He knows that the boyfriend's going to be there, and he is just undermining the relationship. Now, you've got to watch the mother and what she does, because it's going to tell you how the rest of the relationship's going to end up. If she doesn't put things in order, which 9 times out of 10 they won't, because that's the way the domestic formation is. That's just how they are. They ain't going to put stuff in order. These people have got to come first. I've sat, right? I've got on dates with these women, and they'll go, oh, Eddie's coming home because he's had some trouble at work. And you're going, Eddie's lined you up, you stupid idiot, to disrupt your night out. Oh, because I'm frightened I'm going to lose him in case he might commit suicide if I don't speak to him. And you're sitting there and you're going, is this for real? Like, are these people for real? Like, am I imagining this? But you're not. And your head starts to swim. Your mind starts to tell you, get out of here. But you think, oh no, I'll hang in there. One particular night, it was a Friday night, and I'll never forget it. Let's just say Eddie's come home from work and he hasn't got any attention and he needs his mummy, right? This is pathetic and this is true. And me and the woman are, we're just laying down watching a movie, and Eddie gets home from work, stumbles in, the world owes him whatever, and you're thinking, this is absolutely fucking pathetic. Sorry for the pun, but you really do. So I told her I'd sit there and wait for her while she counselled Eddie. Well, I listened to the shit that they were talking about, and it was just absolute garbage, rubbish, right? You wouldn't even entertain it. As a matter of fact, the other son's just gone, oh mate, pull back your shoulders and sort of, let's get on with it. And he's gone. But old mummies, they're literally on their hands and knees catering to the emotional needs of these weak-willed young men, right? Now these people, they've driven the father away through lack of order, probably because the mother's so upset with him. She's just turned the sons against their own father or stepfather or whatever it usually fucking is. Some stupid idea. What you'll find is if these men are weak, right, the woman is going to turn against him anyway if he's weak. That's just predictable. I mean, if you let these women walk all over you, they will. And you won't be able to reverse it, because once you create an element of a pattern of behaviour, it's very hard to undo once it's established. And they will go you. They will go you. Well, if we turn to the Bible, thank God I got shown something this morning where Esau and Jacob, or it could have been Esau and Isaac, I can't remember. Esau, hang on, just let me sort this out. I've got a grub in front of me with a bomb. It was, look, whatever the case was, the blessing had to be handed down. And I know Esau was the older son, and I'm pretty sure it was Jacob was the younger son. And the older son was to get the blessing, right? But the mother and the son, now I'm pretty sure the mother's name was either Rachel or Rebecca. Just forgive me, I'm on the run trying to do this. Rachel or Rebecca. Was it Rachel or Rebecca? I'm going to go with Esau and Jacob. Rachel. I'm just going to go with Rachel. I might be wrong. Okay. And so the mother and this son have come up with this devious plan against the older brother and the father, right? So this is the golden child and the mother against the scapegoat son and the father, the feminine child, golden child, have lined up to steal the blessing from the older son through a deception plotted against the father. This is the extent these women will go to for their golden children. She made up a stew. She even made up a way in which he would smell and look like and feel like the older brother. And they made this plan and they plotted against the father and the older brother, and they pulled it off. Guys, this is the extent these mothers will go to for their children, for their adult children. If they've got a golden child, you are, it doesn't matter who you are, what is going on, the spirit between the golden child and the mother is unbreakable. You cannot the evil behind it is so destructive. If you're not on game, they will steal the blessing from the people around you and you. They have no regard for authority. Let's get this straight. They had no consideration of the authority of the man and the blessing, the inheritance, the spiritual inheritance, right? You've got to understand this, guys. If you're with a single mother, your value is almost zero to that person, unless you've got an absolutely extraordinary woman, right? Your value in the spirit, psychologically, to this woman is only going to be worth what she can get from you. Her heart, her bind, her loyalty bind is with the kid, with the adult child. That's all there is to it. Now, my mum must have been a fucking rare instance, because she stuck with the men. We were never going to get in the way of that. But the women I've seen, I married one of them. She allowed that son to completely dismantle our marriage in 10 weeks. And me and that woman hardly had a fight. I had to ask him to leave. Please leave this premises. They were totally out of order, and you get an insight into how they must have treated the father. With total disregard, disrespect, dishonor, the whole lot. Now, when you get told stories by these single mothers that the father done this and the father done that, the father was an alcoholic and all this and that, why did they stay with him for 20 years, guys? Right? Why? Wasn't for the children. No, that's all bullshit. So you're dealing with a liar before you start. You're dealing with a liar. Now, that's game on, right? If you're in your masculine frame, that's game on. You know straight away you're dealing with a divisive, deceptive, cunning woman, right? She's stuck by her children against her maternal fucking commitments and bonds. She's sided with the children out of her resentments and bitternesses, and it'll show you straight away that this is a woman that's not very good with resolve. Women that bind to their loyalty bind to their children, and children that loyalty bind to their mothers. They got no or little but abilities to resolve, right? Resolve is not something they like to do. And so these people, this is what you'll find. They'll begin to backbite you as the outsider. They'll begin to tattletale. They'll make fun of you behind your back. They'll assassinate your character. You'll become a punching bag in the background. You won't know any of this. Right? These people are psychologically maiming you in the spirit. Let me ask you this. If you're in a relationship like this right now, and you're sensing an oppression in the back of your mind, like a fog, it's pulling you down, it's starting to really trouble and weigh down your mind, 9 times out of 10, it's the person that you're with, sharing private information with their children about your relationship, causes oppression, a spiritual oppression which attacks your mind. It wants to weaken and break your mind. It's trying to destroy you. It's not a game, this is real. These covert emotional incestual relationships, they're amongst the most dangerous and lethal relationships in terms of harming and maiming people that you can find. You see, they're contrary to all relationship principle. The woman's supposed to loyalty bind to the man, not the child. The child has no right to be in the adult arena at all. And these people are living in that dimension of rebellion. And don't worry, they're getting satisfaction out of it, and their lust is being fed, and they're being fueled. They're getting a supply of evil that they like at the expense of the man. It's to demasculinize and destroy the man. And I'm telling you right now, it's not a spirit. It is not a spirit of Jezebel. Jezebel gets blamed for everything. This is beyond that. Jezebel's a choir girl compared to covert emotional incest. You want to look at what happened to Isaac with that blessing, when it was all completely turned upside down by the plotting of the covert emotional incestual relationship going on between the father, the mother, and the golden child. I've seen these adult men, right? Men act like little girls. They'll act like little girls to get their mother's attention, and the mother will groom them. She'll just keep grooming their weaknesses and grooming their immaturity, because they get a sense of identity out of it. They get a sense of belonging. There's a lust going on inside them as well. It's not maternal, please. It's not maternal. It is not. It's trying to guarantee that no matter what happens to you, my son, you will never be left alone. Whatever this world does to you, like it's done to me, I'll never leave you alone. And it's the same with the child to the mother. Mother, these men and what they've done to you, I promise you I'll never leave you alone. You'll never be on your own. I will always be there for you. And then they meet partners, and there's an element of confusion come in. They start to despise each other. Guess who's going to pay for that? You, the partner. Be it you with, and particularly, honestly, the damage that these mummies boys do to their girlfriends, right? I've known of women that have gone in for like serious brain operations, and the mothers rang up and needed a fucking, I don't know, something. The mothers can't find the keys to a car, and the son, instead of going to the fucking hospital where the woman's getting operated on, the partner or the wife, he's gone over to the mum's place to find the keys to the fucking car. That's what this is like. You can have your relationship crashing down around you, and these people will return to themselves. I challenge you right now to look at the situation that you're in, right? And your partner or your fucking husband or wife or whoever it is, who are they with? They're with their children or the mother. They're not with you. That's how they navigate their relationships. They go back to the loyalty bind. The covert emotional incestual bind. You cannot beat it. I don't care who you are, who's listening to this right now. You're in a place where you are just a convenience for somebody that hasn't had sex yet with their child or their mother. Because there's a strong possibility that at the end of it all they will. Because the covert emotional incest wrecks all the relationships they have, and in the end they just turn to each other and they go to bed together and they fuck. And that's how incest starts. Because they cannot and they will not resolve the things that they need in the relationships that they're having, and they go back to each other whinging and bitching about the person they were with, knowing by conscience that it's wrong. But the loyalty bind, the covert emotional incest, the lust and all the emotions and goodies that they get out of that just keep sabotaging any opportunity for love that they have. They will not resolve. They go on with their whinging and bitching against their own relationships, and they end up nicely tucked emotionally in bed with each other, and sometimes physically in bed with each other, while everybody else is standing there going, how did I get mixed up in that? Covert emotional incest. Right? You mummies, boys that might be listening to this, grow up. You women that are listening to this, that are getting with good men, and you're in bed emotionally with your sons and shit, and maybe physically too. Wake up. You're destroying your lives. You're destroying your children's lives. You're not designed to be together. This is Reverend Dr. Jason W. Morrison, theologist, New South Wales, Australia. It's in the Bible, guys. It's there in the Bible. These women will go to any length, and so will these children, to destroy the people around them because they're emotionally in bed together, and in some cases they go to bed together because they keep fucking up all their relationships. And that's all there is to it. Reverend Dr. Jason W. Morrison, theologist. Bye for now.